A todos, bienvenidos a este lanzamiento de nuestra cartilla Know Now. Le damos la bienvenida a nuestros directivos docentes, estudiantes, representantes del British Council y equipo de la Secretaría de Educación. Es para nosotros un gusto estar acá haciendo este gran lanzamiento de nuestra cartilla Know Now, que será una gran herramienta para nuestros estudiantes. Primero que todo, quisiera saber de qué instituciones se están conectando. Por favor, díganos en el chat de YouTube o si están por Facebook también nos pueden decir. Yo veo ya que aquí vemos personas del Colegio Francisco I, Colegio La Concepción, Marco Fidel Suárez, Colegio Villas del Progreso presente, dicen. También tenemos personas de la localidad del 20 de julio. Bienvenidos a todos. Es un honor tenerlos aquí el día de hoy para hablar de nuestra cartilla Know Now. Quisiera hacer unas recomendaciones iniciales. La primera, que tendremos preguntas a lo largo de toda esta sesión. Siéntanse en la comodidad de escribir sus preguntas en el chat. Trataremos de responder algunas al final, pero sin embargo, si no podemos responderlas todas, no se preocupen. Tendremos un FAQ, vamos a hacer un documento con todas esas preguntas y luego de llenar el registro de asistencia, vamos a enviar a esos correos con los cuales ustedes se registran esas respuestas a todas las preguntas. Entonces, por favor, no duden, no escatimen en hacer todas esas preguntas en el chat en el momento que ustedes quieran. Finalmente, pues queremos contarle que a lo largo de toda esta transmisión estaremos también compartiendo el link para descargar la cartilla, para que comiencen a usarla con todas las ideas que vamos a ver el día de hoy, no solo acá en el chat, sino no solo acá en la transmisión, sino también las que ustedes nos pueden brindar en el chat. Entonces, sigo revisando de qué colegio se conectan el día de hoy. Colegio Luis Eduardo Mora Osejo presente, bienvenidos. Colegio Morisco también está aquí con nosotros. Tenemos también personas de la localidad de Fontibón. Entonces, bienvenidos a todos. Para dar inicio el día de hoy a nuestro gran lanzamiento, vamos a tener unas palabras de Jamie Herrera, quien es la líder del Plan Distrital de Bilingüismo. Recordemos que nosotros hacemos parte de la Dirección de Ciencias, Tecnología y Medios Educativos. Entonces nos complace escuchar a la líder del Plan Distrital de Bilingüismo. Jamie, por favor.
Hola, muy buenas tardes. Gracias, Jaime, por la introducción y gracias a todos por su asistencia. Esta es una sesión muy especial para nosotros. Venimos cargados de buenas noticias, de un material muy relevante para los profes, para los estudiantes, así que esperamos que disfruten de esta sesión. Entonces, profes, directivos docentes y estudiantes, como ya lo dijo Jaime, mi nombre es Jamie Herrera, soy líder del equipo del Plan Distrital de Bilingüismo, que es una estrategia que está llevada gracias a la Dirección de Ciencias, Tecnologías y Medios Educativos, que se inscribe también en la Subsecretaría de Calidad y Pertinencia. Nosotros desde el Plan Distrital de Bilingüismo buscamos mejorar las oportunidades de aprendizaje y de enseñanza del inglés. Esto para poder fortalecer todas las oportunidades de vida de nuestros estudiantes. Reconocemos la importancia del aprendizaje de una lengua extranjera y sabemos que son unas herramientas necesarias para poder acceder a mejores ofertas académicas, laborales y sociales, y en ese sentido obtener un impacto local y global de nuestros estudiantes. Aquí entonces les queremos presentar a la versión actualizada de la cartilla Know Now. Es la cartilla Know Now 2.0. Esta herramienta les va a permitir, profes y estudiantes, poder familiarizarse con tipos de pregunta tipo Saber 11. Adicionalmente, ustedes saben que es muy importante desarrollar habilidades para la toma de pruebas estandarizadas y además poder mejorar el vocabulario y familiarizarse también les ayuda a tener mejores tiempos para poder desarrollar la prueba y así también desarrollar mejor el nivel de lengua y tener mejores resultados. En esta edición hemos incluido algunas novedades, hay unas pruebas completamente nuevas de entrada y salida, también hay unos ejercicios actualizados de práctica, también ustedes van a ver incluidas algunas actividades para estudiantes que podrían hacer también de manera autónoma y adicionalmente los equipos de docentes también recibirán acompañamiento de los gestores en el caso de las instituciones que son acompañadas por el convenio del British Council y de la Secretaría de Educación. Esta herramienta y este recurso pues ha venido acompañándonos ya desde el 2019. Los profes lo conocen, también han venido desarrollando actividades alrededor de este material, así que los invitamos a aprovechar al máximo esta estrategia que, como les digo, viene renovada. Viene con algunas recomendaciones que ustedes también nos han brindado de manera anticipada que hemos incluido, y adicionalmente, gracias a esta sesión, pues ustedes van a poder conocer de primera mano esta versión, pero también solucionar sus dudas si es que las tienen. Les agradezco entonces su atención, esperamos que disfruten de esta sesión. Recuerden que la cartilla estará disponible de manera gratuita en su versión digital en el portal Red Académica, y además pues podrían ustedes también hacer uso de ella, no solamente estudiantes con sus docentes, sino también de manera autónoma. Que sea esta también la oportunidad para agradecerle a nuestro aliado, el British Council, quienes con toda su experiencia de equipo de trabajo del 2022 y de este año han podido apoyarnos para que lleguemos a ustedes, a los colegios, a los directivos docentes, profesores y estudiantes con los recursos de la mejor calidad. Y también, por supuesto, un agradecimiento muy especial al equipo del Plan Distrital de Bilingüismo del 2022 y de este año por su dedicación y trabajo para que la cartilla Know Now 2.0 hoy esté con nosotros. En esta búsqueda de más oportunidades para aprender inglés, no sobra recordarles la invitación de seguirnos en las redes. Recuerden que estamos disponibles en Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, en el portal Red Académica. Tenemos ofertas variadas en formación docente para estudiantes, y adicionalmente tenemos una charla que viene muy pronto, que será este jueves a las 6 de la tarde, que también los invitamos para que ustedes puedan conocer y mejorar todas esas actividades que hacemos en torno al desarrollo de proyectos bilingües en nuestros colegios. No siendo más, entonces me despido, te cedo la palabra, Jaime, y esperamos que esta sesión sea de provecho para todos. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Jamie, por tus palabras. Te cuento que se sigue conectando gente, el Colegio Gerardo Molina, también Francisco I, se conectan más personas. Y pues bueno, ya con esta gran introducción que nos das de qué es el Plan Digital de Bilingüismo, qué hay detrás de la cartilla, también quisiéramos invitar a nuestro aliado, el British Council, a decirnos algunas palabras a través de David Vallejo, quien es el gerente de proyectos en el British Council. David.
Hola, buenas tardes para todos y para todas. Por supuesto, nosotros no nos podíamos perder este evento, esta invitación que recibimos con mucho agrado, con mucha felicidad. Como ustedes lo han dicho, venimos trabajando con la Secretaría de Educación ya por alrededor de unos 16 años en distintas intervenciones, con distintos proyectos, y pues nuestra historia en Colombia data ya de unos 84 años. Son 84 años trabajando de la mano con el gobierno nacional y apoyando una serie de actividades muy importantes que pues redundan no solamente en el apoyo que nosotros le damos a los docentes directamente, sino cómo esto también nos permite trabajar por un sistema mucho más sólido y finalmente pues teniendo impactos positivos en las vidas de nuestros estudiantes, que es pues el objetivo que nos reúne a todos a nosotros acá. Como les decía, es verdaderamente muy importante para nosotros este evento. Este es un hito muy importante en términos de lo que venimos construyendo en el contexto de esta alianza. Este año ya nosotros nos encontramos de nuevo de la mano de la Secretaría de Educación, trabajando con las instituciones focalizadas. Estamos ya directamente en el campo viendo las realidades que se experimentan a lo largo y ancho de nuestra ciudad. Y pues, como les digo, esta clase de hitos en nuestros programas es realmente muy, muy importante. Nosotros hemos redundado mucho también en insistir en una de nuestras premisas principales, que creo que también toma cuerpo con una iniciativa como la de la cartilla Know Now en su segunda versión, y es cómo a través de nuestro trabajo conjunto, cómo el trabajo que nosotros hacemos con la Secretaría de Educación y por ende con todos y cada uno de nuestros docentes, de nuestros colegas en cada uno de los colegios, finalmente apunta a una única cosa, y es a trabajar porque el acceso al aprendizaje del inglés sea un derecho y no un privilegio. Es en esencia eso lo que nosotros buscamos, y estamos súper convencidos que hitos como este, el poner a disposición de nuestros docentes, a disposición de nuestros estudiantes, recursos de la primera calidad, de altísima calidad, pues finalmente es una forma de acercarnos cada vez más a ese objetivo. Entonces estamos acá acompañando esta sesión, súper prestos para ponerle toda la atención del caso, para aprender de la cartilla, para aprender de los docentes, consultores que han tenido ya la experiencia pues, de trabajar con ella, y por supuesto muy dispuestos a seguir apoyando a nuestro aliado, a la Secretaría de Educación, en este y otros procesos. Entonces vuelvo contigo, Jaime, para que nos cuentes quién se está conectando y para que podamos ya darle inicio a la sesión.
Muchas gracias, David. Como tú lo mencionas, el British Council ha sido un gran aliado en el fortalecimiento institucional a través de los convenios que tenemos con la Secretaría de Educación, y sí se siguen conectando más colegios y tenemos mucha participación. Ya tenemos alrededor de 130 personas conectadas en línea. Muchas gracias por estar acá con nosotros. Y bueno, yo creo que ya podemos arrancar con nuestra agenda for today. We're going to switch. We're going to speak in English because this is about know now. So, as you could see, we already had a welcome from Jamie Herrera and David Vallejo, but we will also check what are those aspects of the Know Now guide that have been updated. So we're gonna actually check a video in a little moment about that. We're gonna have a choose your own adventure activity that is called Where's the Key? I know you lack some context about what it is about, but you'll understand in a moment. We're going to talk about strategies to using the key. What is the key? We're going to find out in a moment. We might have a panel. As I said at the beginning, we can just simply ask any question in the chat. We're going to gather all those questions and we're going to create an FAQ. We will also watch a couple of videos about students and teachers who have used this guide with a different purpose, with formative assessment, with great strategies that we can actually see and replicate it in our institutions. So, as I said, we had a welcome already. So let's go with our initial video about what's new in Know Now. So let's watch this video together. So as you can see, this is reloaded, updated, cutting edge, whatnot. There are really new features that we can enjoy. And well, that being said, I'd like to hand it over to my colleague, Tatiana, who's gonna lead our session today. So please, Tatiana, go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm so excited to be here. I think our teachers and everyone who's connected is going to be learning so much about Know Now 2.0, and hopefully they will walk away with many ideas and strategies of how they can use it and how their students can use it. Today, we're going to have some guests, including you, Jaime. So Jaime, can you please, you've you've been giving us this warm welcome since we started, but can you please introduce yourself very quickly?
Sure. You know, this phrase, once a teacher, always a teacher. Well, I'm an educator, like most of the ones who are connected today. And it happens to be now I'm coordinating the district's bilingualism plan. But again, I'm an educator, and I'll be glad to continue today providing strategies or some comments on how to use this great guide. Thank you very much.
We're really, really happy to have you here. And we're not alone. We have somebody else with us today. Today, we will also have Sanji Lorena Rojas Leon joining us. She is an experienced mentor, ELT mentor in our program. So, Sanji, can you please introduce yourself?
Of course. Thank you, Tatiana. Good afternoon. I'm so happy to be here. And yes, I'm an ELT mentor, and I've been working with different schools here. I'm reading some teachers that I have the opportunity to work with. So I'm really happy to be with you today.
Perfect. And of course, I will be guiding the session today, but I'll be with Jaime and Sanji the whole way through. My name is Tatiana Gomez, and I'm currently the academic leader of this project that we have with Secretaría de Educación Distrital, and I am also a teacher. So I have been a teacher for over 20 years. I have had the fortune of working in both the private and public sector here in Medellin, and also in Bogota, but also nationwide. So it is very, very exciting to be here and share all of the different things that we have for you today. So I think it's time to get started, right? So let's begin. And Jaime mentioned earlier that we were going to do a let's choose your own adventure activity. So I'm going to show Jaime and Sanji how it's going to be, and then we'll see what choices they make. So we have our first scene, all right? So I want you guys to also participate with us. Tell us which choices you would make in the chat so we can see if you agree or who you agree with. Maybe you'll agree with Jaime, or maybe you'll agree with Sanji, or maybe you'll agree with me. So let's see and find out. In our first scene, we have you wake up one morning and prepare to leave for work. As you reach for your keys, you realize your house key is missing. Panic sets in as you wonder where it could be. What should you do next? So we have two options. Option one, search the entire house thoroughly to find the key. Or option two, call a locksmith to help you gain access to your house. So let's see, guys, I think I'm going to begin with the option one. So I'm going to search the entire house. All right. So let's see what happens. It says you decide to search the entire house thoroughly to find the missing key. Room by room, you search through drawers, under furniture, everywhere. However, after an exhaustive search, the key remains missing, and you're going to be late for work. Oh, guys, I think I got into trouble. So let's see. I have two options. I can either keep searching for the key until I find it, or I can accept that the key may be lost, and I proceed with the option of calling a locksmith. I need help. So I think I'm going to go with the second one. I do not want to be late. So let's see. I call a locksmith. So you call a locksmith to help you get into your house. The locksmith arrives soon and unlocks the door for you. As you enter your house, you can't help but wonder where the key disappeared to. You arrive to work on time, but later that week, you find it on your closet floor. So I guess I found a solution. All right. Now I'm curious to see what Jaime would do. So Jaime, let's see. We have our same scenario. So which one would you choose?
Well, this happened to me like 2 days ago, but with my car keys. Are you being sarcastic about it?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to remind you about that.
So I would definitely call the locksmith. Just, I don't want to waste time. I just want to, get rid of the problem. So I would definitely call the locksmith.
Perfect. All right, let's see what happens. So you call the locksmith. While waiting for the locksmith to arrive, you tell a family member what's happening. Jaime, you're in luck. And they remind you that you had a spare key hidden in your backyard. With this knowledge, what do you do?
I feel I would just wait for the locksmith to arrive. Definitely. I feel I'm all the time trying to, use my time properly.
Uh-huh. All right, all right. So let's see. He's gonna wait for the locksmith to arrive. And yes, you got the same ending that I did, Jaime. Let's see what happened. You found the locksmith came, he arrived pretty soon, he unlocks the door, and of course, you do find the key a couple of weeks later. So later that week, sorry. So all right. So let's see. That was my route. Now we heard Jaime. Now let's go back. And Sanji, what would you do? So again, you're there, you just woke up, can't find your keys, and you don't want to be late. What would you do?
Okay, that's something that truly happens to me often, but I'm really optimistic. Then I would select the first choice. I would search the entire house to find it. It will take time, of course, but probably a few minutes. I mean, like 10 minutes. So I'll do it, the first choice.
Perfect, perfect. So, all right, you decide to search the entire house, right? You thoroughly find room by room, but wait a second. So, you are going to decide after you have looked everywhere. What are you going to do? Are you going to keep searching for that key, or are you going to just accept it and go for the locksmith?
It is likely that some people will disagree with me, given that it could become a dilemma. I'm not supposed to arrive late for work, of course. However, as previously mentioned, I'm a hopeful person, so I would keep searching the house tirelessly. I'll find it.
Perfect, perfect. All right, so you continue searching the house relentlessly, determined to find the missing key. Minutes turn into an hour. Uh-oh, Sanji. Despite your efforts, the key remains lost, and you're going to arrive late to work. Exhausted and frustrated, guess what? You think you should have called the locksmith. Uh-oh, you're late. I think you guys did amazing, though. I think it's now time to tell everybody, what does this mean? What does it all mean? So we had different solutions to basically get to the same path, right? We did need some help eventually, but then let's see how we can analyze these different metaphors. So let's start with the key. Sanji, what do you think? Why do you think the key has a relationship with our new guide of Know Now 2.0?
Okay, why and how can we link the keys to our Now guide? Well, a key opens doors, allowing access to certain results that lie behind the locks. English as a second language open new doors as well. Then Now is a strategy for learners to boost, to improve, to enhance their English language skills, and for teachers to prepare students for global citizenship, for new opportunities, for new doors to be open, and for, of course, for life.
I love it. I love it. You see, we brought Sanji. I'm loving these different ideas. So what about Jaime? Jaime, what do you think about the door? What relationship could that have?
Well, the door makes me think of access, and access to what? Well, access to the knowledge about our strengths and our weaknesses. When you do formative assessment, you can analyze that and create action plans, for example. You can also choose strategies, the best strategies for you to come up with a goal, to achieve your goals, basically. You can also, through formative assessment, follow up on your SMART goals, which are so important nowadays, So this is what it means to me, access to that.
I love it. I love it. And what about, can you help me also with the next one? How can we use data to make decisions, and what relationship does that have?
Well, data, as you showed us in the metaphor, I feel it diminishes, subjectivity, personal interpretations. It helps us go, directly to solutions, and basically you can check progress. With great data, you can redirect strategies or align with your SMART goals. You can also let's say, connect with SMART goals through that M that stands for measure, that a SMART goal should measure. So, well, what a, better opportunity to do that, but with data.
Very true, very true. We have one more, and I think this one is perfect for our ELT mentor. So what do you think? What relationship does the locksmith have with our metaphor?
Our Secretaría de Educación Distrital and ELT mentors, locksmiths, probably. Why not? We are outside people entering your homes, but what is our main goal? To help you open new doors. We want to support schools, principals, coordinators, and teachers to explore and find tools to enrich our students' life projects, reduce gaps, and allow learners to access more and better opportunities.
Oh my God. Okay. I am loving this. I think this was a great start to our webinar. And I think with everything that we've said, we can make a few conclusions. So I think one of the key takeaways here is going to be that we can make, or we need to make, informed decisions. And that can help us achieve a lot of things. For example, it can help us achieve better outcomes. It can also help us reduce risks, right? Sometimes we may not know if we're on the right path or not. So it can help us reduce risks. It can increase not only our confidence as teachers, but our students' confidence, enhance problem solving. On behalf of the teachers, we always think of problem solving. Oh, we're going to include problem solving for our students. What about us? How do we take on problem solving as teachers? And we have a lot of different opportunities in our class plans. So of course, this can help us. Now, the next one, of course, it's going to improve our efficiency and productivity. Like Jaime was saying, we have to be vigilant of our time. I think this is something that we constantly hear from teachers. I don't have time. I don't know. How can I spend my time more wisely? And this is something that can definitely help you save time. It can strengthen our relationships as an educational community because we're all going to be on the same page. We know why decisions are being made. And of course, we can also increase our students' motivation. And finally, it can help us in general, personal growth and learning as teachers. I think making informed decisions can always help us open the doors and keep that growth mindset always present. So now we have heard from Sanji, we have heard from Jaime, but I think the most important people we have to hear from are our students and our teachers. So we're going to give you a little bit of an insight of how some of our teachers are using or have used Know Now. And we're going to start with the testimonial from Adriana Carolina Fonseca, a teacher from Bogotá. So can you please help us with the video?
Hola, mi nombre es Adriana Carolina Fonseca y actualmente soy docente del Colegio Francisco I Su Santidad de la localidad de Barrios Unidos. Hoy les quiero contar cuál ha sido mi experiencia con el uso de la cartilla Know Now a través de este tiempo. Esta cartilla nos ha permitido a mis estudiantes y a mí tener un reconocimiento mayor de la prueba Saber 11, ya que viene explícitas sus 7 partes y nos ayudan a reconocer cuál es la intención de cada una de esas partes. Lo bueno de esta cartilla es que durante la pandemia, después de la pandemia, nos ha servido mucho porque también la encontramos de manera digital. Esta la encontramos en red académica y se puede descargar. En esta cartilla obviamente nos explican cada una de las partes y hay una parte de metacognición y retroalimentación que cada uno de los estudiantes puede hacer. Yo, ¿qué consejos les doy a mis compañeros docentes y a mis estudiantes y a los estudiantes de otras instituciones? Es que con este tipo de herramientas como la cartilla Know Now se pueden hacer actividades diversas. En la institución educativa donde yo trabajaba logramos implementar de una manera muy creativa una actividad institucional donde ellos podían de manera creativa, de manera divertida, explicar a toda la comunidad las 7 partes que también vienen explícitas en el booklet. Entonces todas esas actividades se hicieron post pandemia. Otra actividad u otro consejo que yo les doy es que sea un trabajo regular, que se asigne dentro del horario el uso de esta cartilla para que los resultados al final sean mejores para todos los estudiantes y también para las instituciones.
I loved hearing from our teacher. I think that listening to how teachers have used Know Now 2.0 kind of makes it worth it, right? It makes worth everything that we work on. Now, she mentioned so many things that were important, and I just want to summarize a little bit so that we can see that process and all of the things that she mentioned. First of all, this is ongoing formative assessment. The idea is that we use this as a way to track our students' progress, their participation, their knowledge on the topic, but without referring to just a grade in their English course, but rather having that metric, having that progress from beginning to end. So that's where Know Now 2.0 offers us an entry test. They offer us a training with each one of the 7 parts, and they offer us an exit test. So in this first part, we're going to talk about how this ongoing formative assessment is going to give us that information that we need. Now, we also have this information is going to feed our institutional action plan, or our BI, which our schools are very familiar with. And in this BI, it's important to always reach or try to aim for those SMART goals. Next, we would have that assessment and monitoring progress. This part is essential. We're going to go through a few tips today in terms of how we can do this through learning analytics. And finally, once we have all of this information, what's next? Let's get started. We have adjusting our school strategies, lesson plans, teaching strategies. And this way we can start embedding everything that we know from the data into our teaching practice and into adjusting what our students actually need. So with this, I think one of the first things that we have to really, really pay attention to is that SMART goal. So we want to share with you an example of a SMART goal when it's focused on prueba Saber 11. So here we have one example. It says, implementar un plan de acción de 3 etapas, diagnóstico, fortalecimiento y verificación, en el marco del aprendizaje del inglés como lengua extranjera de los estudiantes de 8º a 11, que permita reducir la dispersión estadística y las brechas internas entre los estudiantes de la IED en un 6%, teniendo como datos de referencia las pruebas Saber 2022 a 2025. So Jaime, this is a SMART goal. What do you think? What do you think about this goal, and how could teachers maybe use this to their benefit?
Well, I actually like it a lot, but it's also important to keep in mind that SMART goals are not only about having a better score, but also including everything we need to get there. That means strategies, activities, maybe analyzing through a survey how students feel about the test, what their comprehensions about it. Choosing the right strategies, and everything that could help us achieve that goal. So I love the SMART goal you present to us today, but I also feel it's not only about, that number, but also how we get there.
Exactly. I love that. And I think this is going to be helpful for our ELT mentors, for our teachers, so we can really start thinking of how can we design that SMART goal to help us on the path to getting a better score, right? Perfect. All right. Well, I do have questions for you guys. You guys are here to work just with me. You're going to help me out because I need some help. I have some questions about each one of these stages, and I have the first one. So this one is going to go for Sanji. So let's see. Based on my students' strengths and weaknesses, how can my class and institutional objectives foster our learning process? What do you think, Sanji?
Oh, well, really interesting. Thank you, Tatiana. Okay, it's really useful to know and to understand our students' strengths and weaknesses, and to use them to enhance learning and develop suitable strategies for addressing students' needs. For this reason, setting student-centered, SMART class and institutional objectives focused on what our students really need and aligned with the institutional action plan, of course, helps us grow and advance. Learning a language is like going on a road trip. We don't get in our car, start driving, and hope that we will finally arrive somewhere. We need a destination, and of course, we need a plan on how to get there.
You are so right. You're so right. All right. I hope our teachers are taking notes, because all of these tips and ideas are really, really, really interesting. Now, let's continue with Jaime. Jaime, what strategies can we use to monitor the progress of our objectives? What class instruments or data could be analyzed? What do you think?
Well, it's a broad question, but let me try to break it down. Well, I would first say the institutional action plan, as you mentioned, is such a great instrument to keep track of how we're advancing, how progress is going. And I would go also for something student-centered. You talked about how much we are, under pressure in terms of timing as teachers and educators. So I feel that we need to focus on group, peer, self-assessment, these sort of student-centered approaches in which you can actually use a lot of graphic organizers, visual cues to make sure students know where they are, how they're advancing, their strengths, their weaknesses, some sort of like place where they can, know how they're doing. I would also talk about, different techniques of gamification, such as progress bars, badges. Actually, I feel we can explore a little bit more about this later on, but also we could also use checkpoints, for example, and also kind of like knowing that gamification is not only online, that we can use all these things offline. We can actually use those little stars we paste on people, like good job, and well, one more than good job, like with some badges that show in which area you have improved. A great idea could be also reflections journals, something for people to reflect about their learning process. That would be great as well. And hands-on activities. One that comes to my mind at this moment would be that reverse engineering process in which you ask students to create a question for the exam, because it kind of like makes you feel, make you understand the essence of a question so deep that you can create a question. So you definitely have to understand it. Another one could be, for example, sharing activities in which you think aloud, in which students start saying what they're seeing in the test, how they're approaching the questions, how they're analyzing them, what's coming to their mind. This is a synonym of this, and validate their answers with others, and with guidance from the teacher. That would be a great activity. And finally, I would go for mock tests. So yeah, the guide comes with certain tests, but look at how there are a wide range of activities and a wide range of instruments that we can use.
I totally agree. And I want to highlight something that you just said. And I think one of the big upgrades for Know Now 2.0 is the amount of extra links and activities that teachers have for each parts of the question. So definitely, everyone should be already downloading that guide. We're going to be sharing the link in the chat. We're also going to be sharing it with QR code in a few moments. So everyone should be downloading it so that they can start seeing for themselves what are the benefits of using this new version. Now, I do have two more questions. So Sanji, I'm going to go back to you. How often should I adjust my teaching based on these results? What do you think?
Well, adjusting school strategies, methodologies, lesson plans, and teaching practices is something that we teachers are not that fond of. However, to help students face and overcome, of course, or leap if necessary, language barriers to reduce gaps and to help our students reach their own goals are some important objectives we ought to keep in mind, so that we need to be willing to adjust our teaching practices whenever necessary.
Yes, I completely agree. And I think that growth mindset goes hand in hand with everything that you just said, right? I think the more open-minded we are about change and how change can benefit the learning process, the better. And we have one more question. Jaime, I'm going to go back to you. So how often should we assess our students for formative assessment for this to be effective?
Well, I feel for this question that it's more about the quality than the quantity. Of course, formative assessment should be ongoing, but if we have one moment or a couple of moments that are really meaningful and that include key components such as criteria to know what you're being evaluated, or feedback, or let's say an action plan, for example, reflections, or connections to SMART goals. If we have, that kind of quality formative assessment, it's all right. we know we're on the right track. And if we have a couple of them, but we have such a, well-structured formative assessment moment, I think that would do the trick.
I love that. I love that because I think it's more than just how often. I love that answer. Thank you so much. Now, we've been telling you guys that we have the links for the guide Know Now 2.0, but we also have some other links that I know you will enjoy and you will use and they will help you. But those other links and everything only go to those who remember to register. So this is the first time. Let's see. I want everyone to start registering if you haven't already. I know they're already sharing the link in the chat. So if you haven't already, remember to register so you can get those links, okay? Now, let's keep going. We're going to now talk about using this data. But before that, remember I said the most important people are the students and the teachers. So now we're going to listen from one of our students in Bogotá, Diego Fernando Narváez.
Hello, my name is Diego Narváez. I am 9th grade student at Francisco Primero High School. My experience regarding the use of the Know Now booklet has been very good. It is very easy to use and it has allowed me to identify my strengths and weaknesses when interacting with my teacher and my classmates. It also helps me to develop my better reading comprehension, identifying new words, thus expanding my vocabulary. I have several tips for those people who are going to start using the primer. It must be handled daily, as it is a very good preparation for the exam. This primer uses vocabulary very well. The texts that are handled are simple and easy to complete. The structure of the questions is very well done. They are easy to understand. The instructions at the beginning of each unit must be read carefully, since they are similar to those carried out in the ICFES test. Having several responses options help us with our reading comprehension. And well, that's all, people. Goodbye.
You see, I absolutely love hearing from our students and our teachers because they also have used it and they know that it's effective and it's been helping them. So I love hearing those kinds of testimonials. Now we're going to keep going because we are talking about how we're going to use that data. And I promised earlier we were going to take a look at learning analytics. So with learning analytics, we're going to refer to a collection or an analysis and an interpretation of data, usually generated from educational activities, which can be, for example, the entry test or the training section for each one of the parts from the Know Now 2.0 guide, or the exit test. But you can also add other things to the mix. Any kind of educational activity that you think can help this progress can be included as well. They're going to help us to gain insights and inform decision-making in order to improve our learning outcomes. Now, what does this involve? It involves a data-driven technique to understand, predict, and enhance the learning process. Now, all of that sounds a little bit technical, so I want to break this down a little bit. And to do this, I have a little quiz. I have a quiz for everybody, and I want the people in the chat to also help me out answering this quiz. And here, Jaime, Sanji, let's see if you guys can get it as well. We have the different steps. We have 5 steps to do this process. Our first step is data collection. Our second step would be organizing that data. Third step, analyzing. Fourth step, make informed decisions. And finally, adjust educational activities. So let's see if we can, match our step with the correct definition. And I want everybody in the chat writing. So remember, you can answer. You can say 1 and then write the letter, 2 and the letter. And we'd love to see your different answers. So let's get started. Let's see, Jaime, what do you think the answer for number 1 is? Data collection.
I feel under pressure to answer. Let me give a look.
You can do it. You can do it.
Let me give a look at the chat to get some inspiration. So what could be number 1, people in the chat? A, B, C, D, E. Should I go for C, Know Now entry test? Or should I go for write results by parts? I'm not
First
sure,
of
but
all, I want to point something out. Jaime, you have an excellent test-taking technique. You're already discarding and you're choosing at least 2 options to be able to find your correct answer. I love that. So what do you think? Which one are you going to go with?
well, I'll go with teacher Clara Jimenez, who said in the
Yeah.
chat, data collection number 1 with know your entry test. So thank you, teacher Clara Jimenez, for that.
Yes, very good, very good. Now, I want to see the teachers try to help Sanji too, because Sanji's doing number 2. So Sanji, organize data. What do you think is the correct answer?
Okay, I'm waiting for students, teachers to answer here in the chat box. So please let me know. Okay, so Hector Castillo, he thinks it's D, and I will go with it. Number 2.
Perfect. Yes, that is the correct answer. So organizing data is writing those results by parts, because if we write just that final result, how are we going to know, right? How we're doing in each one. So once we've done this, we're going to move on to analyzing data. Jaime, what do you think is the answer? A few people have actually answered all of them already.
I know, right? In the chat, I see a lot of answers, but let me go with somebody from the chat. Analyze data, and that would be, let me see in the chat, let me check. Well, I have someone who said decide which skills need to be improved the most. How about that?
Yes, very good. Because it's different to organize the data. It's different to collect it, because when you collect it, I'm doing the actual test or the educational activity. I'm organizing it. I'm putting it in a way where I can now analyze it. And in that third step, that's when we start analyzing. We start deciding, right? We start saying, which ones are the ones that need the most, right? Now, let's take this to our 4th step, make informed decisions. So Sanji, back to you. What do you think?
Okay, so I think could be E, using results to make decisions about interventions.
There you go. There you go. Very good, because it's now we're using this information, right? Excellent, excellent. And Jaime, you have the easy one. You only have one option left. So what is the answer for number 5?
Do I? All right. Well, I'll take it from David Rojas from the chat. David Rojas is mentioning that 5 is B. I'll go with him.
Yes, very good. That is when we actually start the intervention, right? We start adjusting our lesson plans so that we can focus on those areas that need support. Thank you, Jaime and Sanji, for helping me out with this short quiz. And thank you to all of the teachers participating in the chat. I love it because we have lots and lots of teachers connected and answering along with you guys. So that way we don't feel so lonely. I love it. I love it. Okay, so now we are going to go with our key takeaways from learning analytics. First of all, it's never too late to start. Sometimes we feel like, oh, I didn't do it in January, so what's the point? There is a point. You still have time. So those of you that have not started using Know Now 2.0 and other educational activities to support this learning process, get started. This is the time, right? Second, make personalized learning a reality. I know this may sound difficult when we have large groups, but I'm going to give you some tips in a minute to show you how we can do this. It embodies growth mindset, like I've mentioned before. It enhances our curriculum design because we'll also be making informed decisions when it comes time to updating our curriculums, and we can make informed decisions. Let's not call that locksmith right away. We can first get some information, take those first steps within our schools, and then if we need that additional support, look at everything that the Secretaría de Educación is also offering you so you can keep going and keep learning how to use these tools, including this webinar. So now, just a little reminder to those schools that have their ELT mentors, remember to schedule your second visit, right? Because when you schedule that second visit, you're going to learn how to use Know Now 2.0. So you're going to get even more information than you're getting in this webinar. You're going to be able to keep setting up your action plan, and you're going to be able to update your institutional action plan for your school. So please remember to get those ELT mentors on the phone and say, hey, I want my visit now because I really want to start using this tool. Just a quick reminder for those of you that haven't registered, trust me, it's worth it. You'll get some links that are very important. So just remember to register if you haven't already. Now we're going to keep moving because we still have other things to tell you guys. So let's use the results in the classroom. Now we're going to listen from a student who has also used Know Now. So let's go with Iris Paez Vélez.
Hola, soy Isis Páez Vélez y pertenezco a la comunidad del Colegio Francisco I, Su Santidad. Para el día de hoy quiero hablar sobre la cartilla Know Now, la cual en lo personal me ha dado una gratificante experiencia, ya que me ha ayudado mucho con la comprensión lectora, con ampliar mi léxico y aparte con la gramática, lo que ha hecho que esta segunda lengua la pueda emplear con mucha más fluidez. Igualmente para los docentes y estudiantes que quieran emplearla en el aula, está súper recomendada por su diseño tan sencillo e intuitivo. Igualmente, si hay alguna dificultad, esta se puede superar de la mejor forma posible. Aparte que está dividida en niveles, por lo que facilita mucho más su aprendizaje. Muchas gracias.
Perfecto. Y mire que acá seguimos viendo esos beneficios, ¿cierto? Seguimos viendo los beneficios de nuestros estudiantes y nuestros docentes. And I switched over to Spanish and now let's go back to English. I was listening to her in Spanish. All right, so now let's go back into how we use this in the classroom. In this part, I want to give you some final tips of how we can make this assessment formative process a reality. But it doesn't have to be boring. It can be fun. So we're going to brainstorm a little bit. And Jaime mentioned some of these before, so I love it because it ties in with what we're going to see now. First of all, gamification. Of course, we can gamify our progress. How can we do that? We can do challenges. We can have tracking activities or keep trackers, physical trackers in our classroom. We can focus on participation as well as performance, not only performance if they got a good score or not, but are they participating? Are they showing progress? We can use learning stations through gamification. We can use escape room activities or progress maps or even badges. Now, remember that gamification is all about giving the students something that they want to reach. They want to reach it, and you're telling them that they are one step closer to doing it. So one of these last strategies that I mentioned here is badges. So let's look at 3 badges that we'll be using this year in our Plan Institucional. So we're going to take a look at the 3 of them. We have the first one, which is Globetrotter. You increase your overall score between the entry and exit test. More places to know await. But we also have a second one, which is the Adventurer, where you successfully completed all of the training from Know Now 2022. Careful, what does that mean? We did the 7 parts, right? Each one of the parts from the Know Now guide, and all of the activities proposed by your teacher. So it's that student that kept going, that was consistent, right? And finally, we have the World Explorer. So you have increased your score in the part that you needed to improve the most between the entry and the exit test. Here, we're focusing on one specific goal or one specific part rather than the overall score. Now, these 3 badges are going to show us from different perspectives how we can track our students' progress. The first one is going to be based on performance, the second one on participation, and the third one on progress. So performance is, did they increase their score? Participation, did they complete and participate actively in everything? And finally, the progress, did they increase just that one particular skill or part that they needed to? Now, in this badges process, you guys can also think of your own, right? But this means that taking action and using the data to create strategies and actions that are registered in your PI. So this all has a purpose, so you can track results and progress, not just performance, right? Because if we're tracking only performance, that's summative assessment, right? No, we want to track everything. So The most important thing here is that we recognize what we want to track and how we want to track it, and gamification is a great way of doing that. Now, there was a second idea that we talked about earlier, and it's personalizing learning. How can we personalize learning? When I visited schools all over Colombia, and every time we went in, we would see a group of 35, 40, 42 students, and we say, okay, one teacher versus 30 to 40 students, and that teacher is only teaching one topic to all 30 and 40 students. This is usually how we approach teaching, but with Know Now 2.0, and by tracking our progress, we can be able to do something different. We can personalize learning in large groups. So imagine this scenario. We still have one teacher, but now we have our students organized into small groups, let's say 5 students per group. But each group is going to be focused on that specific topic that they needed to improve the most. What does that mean? That we're coming up with 3, 4 different activities, that's it, and we're assigning them to these small groups that needed to reinforce that particular skill or that particular part. And they don't have to depend on us 100%, because as Jaime was saying earlier, we can include self, peer, and group assessment. So it doesn't necessarily have to reflect more work for us. We just have to be creative, keep that growth mindset, and see how we can personalize learning without having to focus on each student individually. So let's sum this up, because we're almost getting to the end of this webinar. I hope everyone has registered. I know we're going to keep sending that link in the chat, and we also have it here in the QR, but don't worry, we still have time to register. So to sum up this part, it can be formative and fun. That means that we can gamify your Know Now training. Remember, it's not just about the entry and exit test, but using all of the activities that we have in between. We can also differentiate learning with stations and small groups. We can focus on the parts of the test with more opportunity to improve rather than doing all 7 all the time. And we can group students' needs and personalize training. This takes a lot of effort to plan out, and it definitely pays off. If you're able to measure the results, track them, use all of the activities that are part of formative assessment, you will be looking at your students with new eyes, and they will be looking at this test, Prueba Saber, Enfocándose, with new eyes and new information that will help them be more successful. Now, I can keep talking and tell you more and more about Know Now 2.0, but like I said before, our students say it best. So we're going to finish with another video. This one is from Felipe Mojica.
Hello everyone, my name is Felipe. I am a student at Morisco School, and today I want to talk to you about my experience using the Know Now guidebook and share with you some helpful tips to make the most of this resource. When it comes to my experience using the Know Now guidebook, I can say that it has been extremely beneficial, especially because this guidebook provides with a comprehensive and detailed structure that is perfect for preparing for the ICFES exam in the English section. This guidebook has a lot of material like examples, exercises, explanations, definitions, everything that you need to know. And that has helped me to improve my skills in all the parts of the exam. And also it has allowed me to study in a more structured and effective way. Additionally to all this, using the guidebook has allowed me to identify the areas that, I need to improve or that I need to focus more on. So in this way I can plan my study times more effectively, and I can make sure that I'm not missing any topic and that I'm addressing all the necessary things for achieving a good result on the exam. Now I would like to share some useful tips with you guys that are using the Know Now guidebook or that would like to use it. In first place, I would say work on your weaknesses. I think that one of the first things that you should do when you get this book is identifying those areas where you struggle the most, or maybe those things that seem a little bit too complicated or that are difficult to understand. So you can dedicate some extra time and extra effort on improving those weaknesses. So in this way, you will have no trouble. Second, plan your study time. It's not only about having the material and studying, but it's about knowing how to study, and this is really important and it's going to help you a lot, I promise. So try to plan your study time. For example, I will study today half an hour. Okay, so I have 30 minutes to study. So in those 30 minutes, I'm going to divide my time, and I'm going to, for example, study for 10 minutes, and I'm going to, study, take tips, and then during the other 20 minutes, I'm going to do exercises. This is a way for taking advantage of your time, and it's going to be really useful for you, I promise. Also, try to maybe choose days of the week to study specific topics, like I'm going to practice inferential reading on Wednesdays, things like that. That helps you a lot to organize yourself and to be able to make the most of this material that is really useful. And third, try to review the topics. Sometimes we can forget some things, so try to review what you already learned in the past. Something that is really useful for me is doing summary notes of the topics, or maybe doing some flashcards that will help you remember, and it's really useful for studying what you already learned. And additionally to that, remember that practicing is the key, and here in the guidebook we have a lot of exercises to do that will help us a lot. Remember that you don't make sure that you know something until you put it into practice, so practice as much as you can. And that's it. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope that all the information and tips are useful to you, and have good luck, and bye.
You see, I told you. Hi, Miss Angie. Didn't I tell you our students and teachers can say it better than us?
Right, great tips, right?
Yeah, he showed us lots of different tips and strategies. Now, I've been seeing some comments in the YouTube, and I think everyone is super excited to know where they can find this, how they can start using it. And remember, this is the launch. That means this is already here. This is a reality. We don't have to wait anymore. So, Jaime, can you tell us a little bit about where our teachers can find it?
Sure. Remember, we have our portal, Red Académica, so please scan this QR code, and the guide is right here for you. As Tatiana was mentioning, you can download it, start using it, and just please scan this QR code and get ready for it.
Perfect. So in the chat, you can also find these links, and I have to do it again, guys. I have to remind everybody, remember to register, right? We are going to have some benefits to registering. So remember, you'll get this presentation along with some links that are really important for you to keep using these strategies that we've talked about today. And we've reached the end of our webinar. Hi, Miss Angie. I'm so sad to leave because I think that we had very, very interesting conversations, but I would love to hear some final thoughts from both of you, and just let us know what you guys would love for teachers to take away from this chat.
Thank you, Tatiana. Well, first of all, that formative assessment is the key. Well, the door in our metaphor, right? That we can access to our students' strengths and weaknesses, and then create action plans, strategies, and everything we've talked about today, basically. So please use that key, use that door, and access that knowledge. And this is an effort that we're going to make. We're at your service, meaning we, British Council, Secretaría de Educación del Distrito, Plan Distrital de Bilingüismo, we're at your service. We'll be there to help you and guide you. Remember that with all the questions that you have in the chat, we're going to create an FAQ. And if you register, you're going to get it. We're going to answer every single question. So please do not hesitate. Ask your questions right now. Do not, keep those thoughts for yourself. Or if you have great ideas, please share them in the chat. Additionally, remember we have an answer key for everything we have in Know Now. So please register and you'll get it. We'll make sure you get it. We'll make sure we distribute it, whether it's with our ELT mentors in those schools where we have visits, or we can just send it to every single school so you can take advantage of it. And that would be it, Tatiana. It's been a really enriching talk today, and I'm really happy to see people commenting and even switching with us into English and Spanish, and it's just great to see all those comments from our students as well, those videos.
Yes, it makes it all worthwhile, like I said at the beginning. It is, it is. Sanji, we'd love to hear some final words from you.
Okay, so first of all, a big thank you for attending, for participating, for joining us. Know Now is a great alternative to stand behind our students' needs and their own learning goals to get a better score. Remember that there are several alternatives to working using our Know Now guide and tools. Do not forget, please, to keep a broad mindset. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, it was lovely being here with both of you. I think that what's next for our teachers is going to be the most important thing, because we can say a lot of things here, but you guys are the ones that make it happen, make it a reality in the classroom. So the key to improvement is using Know Now 2.0 and all of these other strategies and ideas that we've been giving you. Use that toolbox for teaching strategies and educational activities. And remember, I'm going to say it one more time, remember to register, because if you do, you get important links like this one. So I'm just going to show this one very quickly because it's a surprise for anyone who registers. So I hope to see everybody registering in the chat. They've been putting the link a few times, so please be sure to register. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today. We hope that you walk away with new ideas and strategies of how to use this updated Know Now 2.0 guide. So thank you, Jaime. Thank you, Sanji, for joining me in this journey. And thank you to all the teachers that are watching, teachers and students and principals that are watching, so that we can make a reality our goals, our SMART goals for Prueba Saber. Thank you very much, and we hope you have a wonderful afternoon.
That's right. Thank you. Have a great afternoon. Good to see you all. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.